And we are back.
We are back, bumblebees.
We are doing an interview today with Tyler from a different church.
Yeah. What's going on? What's up?
I was just thinking I very much enjoy your energy, and just right off the bat, everybody got to experience it.
Yeah.
So I sent a message on your Instagram because it's really hard to connect with people on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I did not think that I'd hear back. Right? Like, cause
someone handed me, dude, I get so many like, will you come on our pod? Like, and it's, you don't know, like you have no idea. And one of our social media girls, she hands me the phone. It was like it was on a Sunday. I think I got done preaching or whatever, and we're like hanging out. And she's like, "You need to look at this." And I saw it, and I was like, "Okay." And then I looked at one or two, and I was like, I had seen her.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I was like, she looks for whether on TikTok scrolling, whatever, and I was like, let's just see what happens. Let's get cooking. See what happens.
So we got the phone call. Like I got the message and it was your phone number, and I was like, all right, this is actually going to happen. And then I called and we talked. I was actually in my garage messing with dirt bikes when I called you, and everything just kind of fell into place.
Yep.
But I was super excited to get you on the podcast because you are one of those very controversial people on TikTok. Yep. And I saw your first bit of content while you were getting tattooed preaching.
Yeah,
that was the first thing I saw too.
Cool.
So
that was a lot. Like that was a lot of people's firsts.
Right.
And I've been doing that kind of stuff for years. But now, like, it's so weird. I've been doing it for 13, 14 years. I was doing it in youth groups when I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Not necessarily getting tattooed, but now you finally have the capability to be seen by a lot of people. This was everyday life. My wife was putting up with this for 15 years, and now it's like, oh, now also millions of other people are doing it as well.
So our generation is a changing of a guard, right? Because we are coming in what we went through and who we are and the way that we came up. We are now in the leadership positions to start influencing the younger mind and younger generations. And when you have people like us who look the way that we do and talk the way that we do and present ourselves the way that we do, we are leading by example, but we're relating on a level that a lot of older generation can't. Yeah. And I do view myself as an older generation because I'm not quite young, I'm not quite old, I'm kind of in that middle group right now, but I still relate to a lot of that because I lived my life as a tattoo artist. That's the vampire life. Like you don't ever grow old in that industry until you get old, and then you fall apart because of drug usage and all that shit, but it's a whole different discussion. So most of my TikTok is actually, believe it or not, is probably 90% Christian content.
That can be scary.
It is. It is
scary.
But that's how I get my word most of the time because I'm so busy. And the only time that I ever actually get scripture from the Bible is when I make her read it to me. I'm sorry, when I ask her to read it to me. I don't make her do anything. To be clear, I ask because I can't retain while reading. I have to hear it. I'm an audible learner.
And it's usually while I'm already in the middle of reading.
Yeah. Be like, hey, can you just read that out loud? No, we'll just let her. Yeah.
Random.
So, start preaching. Start preaching. Start preaching. That's it.
Preaching with peaches.
I got you.
That's hot. Comment down below if you want. Comment down below if you want preaching with peaches.
A lot of people in like TikTok lives and on my TikTok videos go preach it, peaches.
Yeah.
So like
that's hot.
It could be a thing.
I had something like that. Everyone's just like, stop preaching, Tyler.
Oh no.
That's it.
Yeah.
I wish that you received more love in everything that you do because the hate can be a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, but I
really
think
can.
if you really read the Bible, that's promised.
Yeah.
When you start stepping out, when you start being when you start really doing what God asks you to do, they're not ready for it. I mean, I don't know if people really want to have the conversation. I think we want Jesus and we want to be liked by everyone else.
Right.
And it's like, bro, he told you, like, I signed up for this. I said, Jesus, you got me. He said, well, you don't got nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just already know when you start stepping this way.
Yeah.
Just already know. And so I think anytime you're in a room with everyone that likes you and agrees with you, you should probably find a new room.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
agree.
problem, yeah.
100% agree.
And I
with
think
that
even
statement.
in church, I think we try to find the pastor that says exactly what I want to hear. If I go to the gym, I do not want my trainer going, good job.
Right.
I want my trainer
Unless you're on the floor
"You-"
dying, right? Like,
I want him to go, you've got another one. You're not going hard enough.
Yeah.
You're not pushing hard enough. And it's like, but when it comes to my church, when it comes to my Jesus, when it comes to my songs, when it comes to my seat, when it comes to my parking spot, don't touch it. And it's like, but bro, like you're just seeking comfort. And Christ is anything but comfort.
So two things. one, this is going to be a very heavy podcast of religion.
I was just thinking,
obviously
like-
we have a pastor here, so if that's not for you, that's fine.
Yep.
But this is at least entertaining, and you should watch it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you are right in the whole comfort thing, and you are right in the struggle and everything. And though we get hate, be glad that we are not living as Paul did. Right? Like I think about that. I think about that shit a lot.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people who have faith, if they were actually beaten 39 or what is it, 40 minus 1 is how they word it, and like actually had to live that faith would go away real quick.
Bro,
I think
you
a
do
lot
this
of people
podcast
would
from
turn their
prison.
back. Yes, I would.
Right? So it's like, would I do what I'm doing now in prison? Would I do it if I knew I was going to prison after?
Yeah.
Would I keep preaching even if I didn't have a microphone in my hand? Would I still read the Bible if I was homeless? Would I still sing the worship song if I have to go to a funeral every single Saturday morning? They don't want like, I don't want that type.
Damn, I was on it until the funeral thing, bro. Like I was with you. I was there until the funeral thing.
I'm
I don't know
gonna
if
be
I could
honest.
mentally handle a funeral every Saturday. I think that would weigh on me too much. I don't
No,
think I could be
and-
that guy.
Oh, I'm so glad that you repeated that because you started going off, and my mind went like Mark of the Beast with like the people getting the chips in their hand and whatnot.
Yeah.
I
But
would
that's
take-
for comfort.
Right. I
It's
mean,
for comfort.
Yeah.
if
I
it's
think you're
do that or
as
die.
Humans, you're always seeking at like take Christianity, take spiritual. Like my flesh, my skin is always saying, "Stay in the bed." Hit snooze from the moment I wake up every single day. Comfort is my first thought. I've got 9 more minutes. What is it? 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, why not 10? Like, just give me the other minute. Why 9? Snooze. And then from there, should I eat a good breakfast? Should I have syrup with my eggs and not just eggs? Right? And I do that, so don't judge me. But your skin is always wanting comfort. And it's like, I don't want to feed my skin because I can't take my skin to heaven.
Right.
I take my spirit to heaven. So I've got to feed my spirit, man. It's comfort, baby. It's comfort. And that's the most dangerous place to be, comfortable. That's why we're on the To Be Better podcast, because we're getting better.
So let's talk about TikTok.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your Tinder episode on TikTok.
Yep.
So you made a TikTok where you had talked about how you were married, but you got on Tinder and started interacting with people, and it got out that you got caught
Yep.
on Tinder as a preacher. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So the first thing, I always, my personality is naturally find the line, live on the other side of it.
Okay.
Always. Always. To give you context, my wife and I have been married going on 11 years. And so happily married. Man, she is when we talk about, and I'm sure we'll get to relationships at some point, but a helper. Like, we help each other become who God's created us to be. She's known this was my calling, to do any and everything to get one person to listen to the gospel. That's it. We have a church, one TikTok being, the demographic being, I think our age group is like, what, 16 to 26, right? If you were to look on a Sunday morning, I'm one of the oldest people at church. My wife and I turned 31 in January. So getting old, baby, getting old. And I realized I had never seen a dating app, but I preach on dating all the time. And I went, why? If I'm to be all things to all people, and I'm not, and I knew, so I go to my wife. Obviously, there's always protection, right? Just like a company would have a board of directors. In my own personal life, I have board, like they watch what I do, and that's what I have people set up for, to keep me safe so I don't go off the deep end. I go, Ryan, this is my idea. And usually it starts like that. I want to do this. This is my idea. And she goes, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And so I'm like, okay. And people have canceled me for the things they have seen. They haven't even seen the things that never, that I got talked off the edge of doing,
Okay.
of saying or whatever. And so I said, everyone at our church will come to us for prayer or whatever, and they're on dating apps. And what am I going to say? Well, I met my wife in high school. Sucks to suck. And it's like, I can't tell. I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know what's going on. And so I said, Ryan, I'm going to download Tinder. And I was at a coffee shop and I made a profile. I don't even know what the name I put. And so I got on it and this was the kicker. Because I'm not a sexist preacher, I said, I want to see what men and women look like. So I put, I'm interested in men and women. And this is context. That's all in the thing that was posted. Hey, I want to empathize with both sides because I have men and women at my church, all of that. And so I screenshotted some, I never what do you do? Swipe right or left or whatever. I screenshotted like 5 or 6 profiles. And then I created kind of like teaching points, like their bio had had a bunch of stuff to do with like sports or work or here's my zodiac sign or whatever. But none of it said like, I serve the community. I know how to pray. I know how to read. I know when times get hard, I'm a be here for you. I'm a worship for you. I'm a worship with you. And so when I was preaching, I was like, here, I got some profiles I found, and so I swipe, I'm having fun with it. I'm like, oh, it doesn't have nothing to do about Jesus. Swipe. You're not going to pray for me when I'm going through a hard time. Swipe. You're not going to, and I'm doing that. Boom. I post it. Mm-hmm. It goes up. And of course, being me and what we do, we create its own clickbait. So I'm fine. Like I'm fine with it because I know there's nothing.
That video was good though. Like I saw that. That was the second interaction that I had with you. So, but we talk about social media a lot. We talk about dating apps a lot. I've never been on a dating app. I've never downloaded Tinder. I actually learned the other day that Facebook now has a dating section.
Yeah, Facebook.
You
dating.
learned that a while ago.
Well,
I brought it up to you.
Yeah. Dating. Okay. So then I obviously didn't remember it because Sean asked me if I had it on my phone. Like if it's a thing available for me, and it is, but my profile says married. So why is that dating app available to me?
I know about Facebook dating.
And my best friend who's single cannot even access it on his phone, which is really weird.
That is strange.
So, but anyways, we've never done that, but we've done a lot of statistics based off of Tinder and the way that it works for men versus women, and we've had a ton of talks about that. But I've never once been like, we should download this for science. Like, let's see how this goes. And you're like, watch this. Yeah. I was like, and you co-signed.
I just want to know what they're seeing. So I'm talking about something that I can actually, whether I help them, don't help them, I can relate to them.
Right.
I'm now a dinosaur. They can't come to me or my wife, because we've been happily married for 11 years and 2 daughters, and we take cute pictures, and that's easy for you to say. And I never want to be this out of touch person that goes, oh, well, if you didn't do it then, I don't believe in it. We just never had dating app.
Right.
Like, was never even a thought. MySpace was the closest thing I had to a dating app.
Right.
And I had nothing. So we do that and post it, and it was going, like, obviously it's doing numbers, right? Pastor downloads Tinder or whatever. It's going. And then somehow it was all good. And somehow, I guess this big creator, this was a while ago. I can't remember. I think she's a blonde-headed lady. She had, 10 million followers or something like that. She reshared it and was like, looks like you got caught on it or something like that. And obviously, now when somebody sees it, it's through the lens of that and not through the context of, we've been in a relationship series for like 2 months. We have talked about how to have healthy relationships, healthy sex, healthy finances, healthy parenting. Bro, we've been doing this a lot longer than you just looking, thinking it's funny, get some clout off of it, like get paid off of it, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so then the narrative changed. Like then every comment moved from, hey, thank you for this, to looks like you got caught. Then I wake up one morning and documentaries are being made about me, and on like YouTube, if you type in my name, like bisexual pastor.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. And just wild how one thing, and somebody will just believe. Like I don't want to do any type of research. I don't want to question anything. I just want to. I'm like a sheep. I just want to follow the first thing I see. That's funny. That's done.
Yeah.
He's a weirdo. Now, does it suck that pastors are weirdos and it doesn't help that there have been so many pastors? just.
What did that do for your following, though? You had to have had a huge increase in numbers with all of that.
So we privated the video, and it's the only video we've ever privated. Not because, I mean, man, if you look at it, we get hate every day, all day. I wake up immediately. The only reason we privated it was because the focus wasn't on, at least whenever they're commenting or they're hating on it, they're wrestling with the spirit. Like, I don't agree with this, or I know that they're at least wrestling with a spiritual component, and the focus had gotten off of Jesus and onto Tyler. And that's never been my heart. Like that
right.
Anything I do. So, I mean, I can go put it active again right now. But it lost it. The audience was lost. And that was never the goal. Not that it did anything to our marriage. Not that it did any, like everyone in our church is like, did they not, no one could understand. Like, did you not listen to the content? Like, did you literally not listen? Did you only listen to 3 seconds? Is that all you listened to? And it was like, yeah, I guess so. And so it was just a wild, and so, yeah, we were having a bunch of people. That was the only one where I had people like pastor friends call me and were like, you okay? And I was like, yeah, man, like, because I know, like my wife and I sat down and I want to be effective.
Right.
And it was effective for the first 500,000 people, and then the other 1,000,000 people before we privated it. And so now you'll still, like, if you go on our comment section, you'll still see, is this the Tinder guy? Like,
okay, so let me ask you this, and I know you got notes. Oh,
No,
you
I
scribbled
don't,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Did we answer them?
No,
or you
I'm
just
good.
changed your mind?
I'm good.
nah, she's
Okay.
freestyling.
Clearly.
She's freestyling.
You taking that and making it private and waiting for a while and putting it back public would probably actually generate a lot of buzz, and it would create a whole lot of narrative around what you're doing. I got a lot of my videos, a lot of my content went big because I said controversial shit.
Yeah.
Biggest one, the first one that I ever had that did millions of views was I said that if your girl asks for your phone or your man asks for your phone, your relationship is already over. You can give it to him, let him have it, just end the relationship afterwards because the trust is gone.
Yeah.
Nobody heard that the trust is gone. They heard don't let him see your phone, and it created a whole lot of shit. And it had like 2 million views in like 3 days. I've never had any. At the time, I think the biggest video I had was like 15,000. And my phone was going nuts, and I turned my notifications off of everything. And we talked about it, and I was like, I think I'm going to delete the video. Like, I don't want the negativity from this. I'm trying to educate people and like let them know that boundaries need to be instilled. And like, they just took my words so out of context. But I took it down. I privated it for like 3 or 4 days, and then I put it back, and it went nuts all over again. And I was like, I'm just going to ignore the comments. And I ignored the comments, but my following just started growing and growing and growing because there are silent viewers who are not going to get caught up in the drama and the thing that will actually hear the message. And I think that you might be missing that.
No, for sure. And it has been a while. And I mean, we upload content every day, every single day, sometimes 2 times a day.
Do you do that? Or do you have a team?
Both.
Okay.
So depends on what it is. Like, depends on, we have a whole system, just like you guys, we have a whole system. But for us, like, there are 2 worlds. We have this online world that people have this idea of who I am or who the church is. But then we have like real people that drop their children into like the nursery. And that's and I keep them separated for safety. I never want me to get in the way of like their breakthrough.
Right.
Or this is not come see Tyler. Never has been, never will be, don't want it to be. And so we keep them very separate. So we have media team that does all in-house stuff. Like this weekend we're playing a recap video of I think we've used like $80,000 this year to change our community. And so they work on all of that, whereas I focus primarily on the online and give leadership to the in-house.
Right.
But they're polar, like we don't let them touch. We try not to, like, you can't, if you were to visit Nashville, you couldn't find our church. We don't put our address out there, no marketing. The sign at the top doesn't even say church on it. It just says different. Because there are a lot of people that want to vlog. Like, I just want to see what this guy's like. He's like, bro, I'm just walking around with my friends.
Right.
These are my boys. Like, you're going to meet my family. You're not going to meet like other people that I'm not in some back room, green room, just chilling. Like, no, like I'm with the people. Like this is what we do in the city. Like we serve the city. You're going to catch me handing out food to people. I'm handing out money to people if we go somewhere and do something like, so we want to keep them separate.
Do you have any questions before I keep going? No. Is there a is that a thing in the church community where, man, I'm really trying hard not to name people right now, because I do follow some of them, and I don't know if they follow us back, but there are a few very big name creators that have very large churches that are our creators, that are very inaccessible. Is that a normal thing? Like, because they get a lot of clout. Like there are people who just recently put out some books.
No, for sure. Yes. Can it be healthy? Yes. Here's why. I don't do everything. Does everyone want me to do everything? Yes. Everyone wants me to be here, do this. We have people, and it's multiple layers. I'm available for people, but I am not at the will of people. Like, I follow what Jesus called me to do. When somebody comes in and says, I need this, because we do church work.
Right.
Just like an addiction center, just like a hospital, just like we have broken people every single week coming that need something. That would destroy anybody. Like, that would destroy anybody. If I check my messages right now on Facebook, somebody's asking for money. Somebody's asking to pay the rent. And we help sometimes. We can't. Like, we have a system, all of that. And a lot of it is to protect myself, like them, because you don't know how many, you don't know how many people want to get close to the guy. And it can get weird. It can get really weird really fast, especially when you do the spiritual component and you add, I've prayed for you, especially like I don't pray for women. Like, there are women in the church that are empowered to do, like, why does Tyler have to do it? Why can't I empower a bunch of other people that are passionate about preaching, that are passionate about praying, that are passionate about whatever it is? Like, let's give you a spot. I'm still around, like, I'm still here. I don't just drift off in some little room with my snacks and you don't see me, I preach and I leave. Like, I don't do that. I've been a part of that. Even whenever I go and travel and do really, really big stuff and they give me a green room, I'll put my bags down. Bro, I'm over here messing with some people in the lobby. Like, I that's just always been me. I didn't grow up in church, so that's always been me. But some people, it can protect you. I will say it's not always bad. I think it can protect it's valuable in a way, but not whenever it becomes like the crutch. They're like, I don't do ministry.
Okay.
Because I'm too busy being the minister that I can't do ministry. And that can get a little muddy. So what's y'all's church background?
None.
None? Okay. Didn't grow up in church?
No. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what my father is. My mom was someone, she believes in God, but we never read the Bible, never really practiced anything, never prayed. It was just kind of, don't say the Lord's name in vain. Yeah. And everything happens for a reason. That was pretty much.
Live, laugh, love in the bathroom.
No. No. It was more farmhouse chickens and.
Okay.
But fake chickens, decoration chickens, but. Yeah, no, not a lot of church in the background. Once I started figuring out, I've always believed in like a higher power and that there are no coincidences and things don't just happen. But when I started really researching into things, I fell into paganism. Yep. So just recently, in this past January of 2023, I found my faith.
Dude, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, there's no, if you knew, this is like whenever I start shouting. Like, I'm Pentecostal, which is like where you start jumping and shouting. Like, God's just been so good. When I found it, there's nothing like giving over control and just knowing, like, I have a dad that loves me. Even if I didn't have a dad on this earth that loved me, I have a dad that loves me, and I can't wait to meet. Like, I can't wait to see him. Like, so for real, awesome. Love it. What about you, bro?
Do you want to tell how you found your faith?
No, you can tell your side of things.
So I had a really rough childhood, and there was a family that used to live next door to us when I was a kid that was evangelical. Mm-hmm. They were hard Bible thumpers, the whole family. Mm-hmm. And I ended up homeless, and they ended up giving me a place to stay after being homeless for a little while. And part of the agreement was that I had to find a job, or at least look for a job.
He's still a minor at this point.
Yeah, I was early teens. But I had to try to find a job, and the loophole in that is I had to try because I didn't get a job. Looking back on that, I should have, because I know now I understood their finances. Back then I didn't get it. They just were able to make things work. That was one of the things that they always had. God gave them enough food to feed everybody in the neighborhood. Yeah. It was really, really crazy the way that all played out. Anyways, the other thing was that I had to go to church, and we went to a church in St. Pete, and went a couple times. You know, as a kid, you kind of just get along.
Yeah.
And I ended up going up front, gave my life over, ended up going to jail, found a jailhouse religion, got out, and all that went away. And I went back and forth, lost my faith, found my faith. You know, that happened a lot throughout my life. And then Hurricane Ian hit.
Yep.
There were some things that happened before Hurricane Ian that were like pivotal points in my life, but I don't want to get into that on the pod. But Hurricane Ian hit, and I called my mom. She's my adopted mom, the one who had me going to church as a kid. And I was like, look, I have 3 businesses in the area. My home is here. This hurricane is going to hit, and we're looking at 14 to 18 foot of storm surge. I don't know if you're familiar with that, being from Tennessee or not, but that storm surge means that once the storm passes and all of the wind and all the shit is over, you've got 14 to 18 foot of water that's coming after the storm. So, like, not only do you got to worry about all this wind and all this rain, now you got to worry about the flooding that's coming afterwards. And I can deal with wind and rain. I've been in Florida my whole life. I'm not scared of a storm. That storm surge scared the shit out of me. Like, I got a woman, I got 2 little kids, like, my businesses are here, my home is here, new cars, like, I was financially secure. My life was very good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mom, the storm's going to hit. I need you to get your prayer circle together and pray for my house and my businesses. I was like, I don't care about my cars, like, don't care about anything other than the house and the businesses. I need to make sure that I can hit the ground running when this comes back. I got employees. So, she gets her prayer circle and she's talking to God, doing her thing, and we're standing by, waiting. And I remember watching Weather Channel, because the news is always bullshit. No matter how you watch it, it's bullshit. Yep. This newscaster on the Weather Channel is like, 14 to 18 foot of storm surge. You might be able to swim, but this could kill your kids or some shit like that.
Bro.
Right? Like, said this on the television, and I'm like, yo, I got a 3 and a 4-year-old here. Like, this could kill the kids. So it's 11 o'clock at night, and like, again, I am a true Florida cracker, right? I am not afraid of a storm. I'm that redneck on TV talking about, get the beer, we ain't going nowhere.
We're floating.
Yeah.
We're floating.
Yeah, I got a kayak. I ain't scared of this shit,
my
bro.
water wings.
Yeah. I look at her at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, babe, I think we should evacuate. And she's like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah, I think we need to go to the other coast, like, just to wait this out. And we grabbed the kids and we loaded up 11 o'clock at night, drove across the state, got to the hotel at like 7 o'clock the next morning. And, because the ride over was horrendous. There's National Guard everywhere. Like, what should have been a 3-hour drive was literally all night long.
80-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, pushing against a giant Jeep Renegade Rubicon. Yeah, Gladiator Rubicon. So, like, it lifted the whole 9. I'm getting like 9 miles to the gallon against the wind trying to get across the state. And we got there and we stayed in the hotel, and the next day it was 14 hours of rain on the area. All of the power went out. I couldn't access my cameras anymore. Mm-hmm. I have friends who are sheriffs that work for the sheriff's office, and I'm in contact with them because they're the only people in the area that have signal. And getting like info saying, like, you know, one of the guys who is a sheriff in the area said that his roof got ripped off and he lost all contact with his wife and kid. Mm-hmm. Like, couldn't go. His superior officer was like, you can't leave. We are in a national disaster. If you leave, we can't come find you and your wife and kid. They need to hunker down and wait. Like, and I'm having all these updates from him, and I'm praying, freaking out. So we drive back the next morning after everything was calm, and I'm getting updates still. We just found somebody ratchet strapped to a tree because he would have been a projectile with the winds that we were getting. We were at a category 5 is the highest it goes, but we got recorded winds of like 160 miles an hour. Which is insane.
Category.
Right. They do at that point. So like we get to drive through Arcadia, which is the next town over.
Well, before we actually even start driving over, the storm ends. We stayed in the hotel for 3 days because there was flooding. And there were people who were like venturing out. People were in kayaks. People were swimming to their houses. And we were trying to reach out to people like, hey, can you go check on our house, please?
Yeah.
And nobody could get down our street because it was flooded so bad.
Yeah.
Nobody's car
Is
could
that
make
the
it
one
through
that
it.
was just like what was it last?
It
That was
last
last year.
fall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad got hit.
September 28th.
Yeah.
Bro.
So yeah, she's right. I forgot all about that.
So we're panicking because our road is flooded and we're thinking our house is flooded. Nobody can get to the street.
Yeah, getting updates of the tattoo shops and like the destruction that's happened there. I forgot all about the extra 2 days there. So we drive back and we come through Arcadia. And as we're driving through Arcadia, there are houses that are underwater, and all you can see is the top of the house. Like you can see RVs that are underwater. You can see like
Cars
the air
underwater.
seas, and there's roads that are completely blocked off. There's bridges that have collapsed. Like it was.
There were parts of people's houses wrapped around traffic lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The roofs would come off, and it was a mess. But we get here. I had 18 inches of ground clearance on my Jeep, and it was brand new.
Yeah, we took the kids to Nana's, and we were like, we have to go check on the house. We have to go check on
Yeah.
the studio because we didn't know what happened.
We drove down my road, and the water was to the top of the Jeep before I started driving. So like I know that, again, I'm a Florida boy. You just keep your foot on the gas and don't let anything get in your engine. And we did, and we made it, and we came around the corner on our street, and you could see the top of our mailbox. I'm like, oh, I can see our mailbox. That's a good thing, right? And then I could see the back tires of my car. My car was there, and the house was standing. And we pulled into the driveway. Well, we pulled up and
Into the grass.
right in front of the door because there was water halfway up my property. And there was lots of emotions, and I don't want to get into all that. There was a whole lot of crying. And the only thing that was wrong with my house was a solar panel came off my roof. It landed in the water. I picked it up, put it on the porch.
We
It
lost
still
the top
works.
to the salt tank.
You know what the church people say? Look at God.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, let me tell you how bad this was. Because we left at 11 o'clock at night with no preparation, we put on no hurricane shutters, no blinds, nothing.
I left the back patio a mess. There were kids' tricycles, like shovels, cups, chairs, tables.
Yeah. Projectiles, like
Plastic.
legit projectiles. And we have giant bay windows on the back of our house. Nothing moved. My screen was intact. The tricycles were in place. The sit and spins were in place. The things that were in the backyard, while there are giant oak trees that got pushed over on my property, were still where we left them.
Yeah.
Look at God.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to cry. There was that moment for me was like, all right, I see you. I see you. And there was, so that was I reclaimed my faith that day. And then she found hers shortly after, and it was not by me pushing. There was only real conversations about like, hey, I prayed a little bit about this last night, and like I was telling her about what I was going through, because I'm like you are. I'm not trying to force anything on anyone. I have a relationship, and I would like you to have the same thing, but that's for you to develop, not for me to force. And she ended up finding her religion because of all of that too, but it came later. But that was my big coming to Jesus. Like, I see you. My main tattoo studio at the time had 8 stations, but it was large enough to fit every single employee I had. So though I lost 2 other shops, I was able to create more stations and put everyone back to work the moment the power came back on. So while all of these people aren't, tattoo artists it's like the drug game.
Yeah.
You make it fast, you spend it fast, because you know that tomorrow when you go to work, you're going to make hundreds of dollars again. So they don't ever save. Yeah. None of them have a savings, bro. And so they're dying to get back to work, and they get back to work, the power comes on, everyone gets back to the shop, and we start running again immediately.
Wow. And so you're bringing hope, not like you have hope, but now it's like they're looking at you and going,
right. Well,
now they're seeing your faith because you're like, bro,
Yeah.
if you only knew, let's work. And
so a lot of other things happened after that. We sold one of the properties that we had. I sold a bunch of my camera gear because I'm now trying to help these people stay afloat and do the right thing by my people. But we ended up getting them back up and running. And because I had 24 employees under one roof now and one tattoo studio, which is a lot, we no longer had a place to be. So we got removed from the shop so that people could be there, and we started making TikToks. So from September to December, we got a pretty big following on TikTok. In December, because of live streams and people asking for it, we decided to make a podcast.
Yeah.
And we had the discussion about, giving it to God and let it do its thing. And like the podcast just went. So I believe that there are a few factors in life that I truly like. I see God's hand in my life. One was him putting her in my path, the hurricane and everything that has happened since then, because I'm not trying to dictate a whole lot anymore. I'll get this grand idea and I'll pray on it and I'll try to put things into action. And if it goes, I get it. And if it doesn't, and there's a whole lot of resistance and I still feel called to do it, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
Because you never know. But I don't know. So that's for me. Like, you have faith because you're supposed to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have faith because I know, and there's a difference. There's a difference.
Seen too much. I've seen
Right.
too much. Seen too much. You can't tell. Not whether you believe in God, don't believe in God. I know him.
Right.
I've seen him. He was with me at the hospital bed, in the hospital bed when I lost my whole family. You weren't there. So you're not going to talk me out of this relationship.
Right.
I've seen too much. I know too much. I've heard too much. Nothing could change my mind.
Yep.
Nothing could change my mind. And I'm not to be rude to anyone that doesn't, but I'm not the one pushing. I've really found I get more push. It's become more pushy against the spiritual and against Christianity than Christians are really. And yes, do you have some weirdos here? You go to a concert and there are people on the corner, turn or burn. Like, of course you have that.
Every group has their weirdos.
Yes.
If I just make a video that says, I love Jesus, Jesus is my Lord, it will be 75% no, you're delusional, say hello to your imaginary friend, and then 25% agreeing.
Do you see that on any other religion?
No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. No, nobody, and I know what my church does for the community. I know what churches I've been a part of that like pastors and churches I associate with. I know what they do for the community. I can't speak for everyone else, but I also don't see nobody checking the mosques for serving the community.
Right.
I've got some Muslim brothers I rock with. I don't see them in the comment section going, let me see that whip. Let me see that car. Let me see those shoes. Let me see. No other place. And it's like, if only one thing gets people riled up, that might be the only thing. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I want people to come to, like you said, I want them to figure it. Like, I figured it out myself. I didn't grow up in church. I couldn't do anything but figure it. Like, there was nothing else. I didn't have nobody else coaching me through this. I had nobody praying for me. I laid in a hospital bed and I went, there's got to be more. Mm-hmm. Got to be more.
Yeah.
And that was it.
For me, a lot of the things too, though, is that I've never seen every person that I have ever looked up to or has influenced my life in a major way has had faith.
Yeah.
So the people that I've looked up to, and because of their marriages has the structure that it has because of their faith. So like, I do see people that pervert the word of God. And I don't deny that. It's everywhere because people are fucked up. Yeah. And we want to manipulate and corrupt and get. We want to consume.
Everyone wants power.
Right.
Everyone wants power.
So, but when you see people who are having real marital issues, and I'm not talking about like they're arguing about what's for dinner. I'm talking about they don't have the money to make the rent or their mortgage payment. They've got 6 kids. There has been accusations of infidelity, and they are on their face praying to God that they get through this, and they get through this. Like, those people have set a standard for me. Like, I know.
Yeah.
I get so emotional. It's so stupid.
No, but it's real. Like, it's real. I think it brings out, when something's real, it brings out real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's, bro, like this. It's the altar. You know what I mean? It's God, I've seen you move. I've seen you work. Here I am. I've messed up. Like, you and me know ain't nothing good or perfect about this guy except for you and what you've given me.
Right.
My wife is one of the only good things. My daughter, like, what he's given me is good. And I try not to touch any of it. And I go, God, today's your day. You let me know. What am I doing? I've just seen too much. You've seen too much. And it will, like, there is something about when you get you hit rock bottom. When you hit rock bottom, you find out who the rock is at the bottom.
Right.
Right? And a lot of people haven't hit that. They haven't needed that. I'm swimming. I need someone to throw a life preserver out to me, or I've got nothing else. It is my next option. Overdosing is my next option. There's nothing else. I don't see. And that was my life. I didn't grow up in church, so it was you rap, you play ball, you have a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women, and you just work. Construction maybe, and my whole family construction work. So that in my head, that was it. Have a few kids by whoever, marry a hood rat, do the thing, whatever it is. Work if I can't rap, if I can't play ball, and you just exist until you die.
That's the reality for most people.
Yeah.
They accept it.
And then I hit rock bottom, and I went, God, what? I don't know you. But some other people, like you said, some other people that have really made an impact in the world know you. Whether I make an impact or don't, what I'm doing isn't working. And I think that's one of the craziest questions that's ever been asked to me. How's that working for you? I'll go, well, I'm doing this. And this pastor friend of mine goes, how's that working for you? And I'm like, well, it's not, but I'm doing this. He's like, well, I want to do this, or I want to spend this. How's that working for you? And usually anything I'm doing isn't working. You know what I mean? Usually it's do I have God's wisdom? Do I have backing by some people that are filled with faith, that have hope, that have love? All of that. How's that working for you? And it usually doesn't unless I've got God walking right with me, ordaining the steps, all that.
You have questions or anything that you want to talk about?
No.
Just along for the ride.
I'm just enjoying it, yeah.
We are
not church.
42 minutes in.
Church.
And I've almost cried like 3 times.
The spiritual. I know a lot. As we look at just what are questions, right? Like what are real, like in our church, I always want to be a person that answers your actual question. Not I give you everything happens for a reason. When somebody loses a loved one, stop telling them everything happens for a reason and just stand next to them and love them. You know what I mean? Like, I think as Christians, you can get so uncomfortable being next to someone that's vulnerable when in that they just want a hug. Like they don't want me to preach. They do not. The last thing you'll get all the time. Hey, we go to my friend's house. He needs someone to preach to him. No, he doesn't. He just needs someone to spend time with him, play video games with him, and just love him. That's all he needs. He doesn't need me to bring my microphone and my worship team and we start playing Kumbaya and I start shouting at. Just love him. Just love them. And I've always like when we do community outreaches, we don't give canned goods. We don't do that. We give money because I want you need a babysitter. Your marriage is on the rocks. Here's $20. Pay that girl to watch your kids so y'all can go on a date.
Yeah.
We want to go get gas. Go get some go grab dinner. Like whatever you need to do. We want to reach real needs. And even whenever we preach, I want to talk about real things, not just come to church, do your tithe, see you later, see you next week, and we'll do it all again next week. Never been my thing, man. Never been my thing.
So you said earlier that you don't pray over women, like you're not.
Yeah.
That
So
guy.
like if Peaches was like, hey man, can you pray? If I was to, I'd say my wife or either another woman. If my wife's not around, I'll have another woman pray for not that there's weirdness there or here, but there's always room. I never want to make room for there to be intimacy with me or them. And when it is spiritual, it is intimate. It always will be. It's supposed to be It's supposed to be. It brings you together. But as a married man, that's not my place. Like that's not my place. You have a husband. Let's get your husband to pray for you. And I preach that. I get more hate on that. I
believe it.
I'll preach, wives, I should not pray for you more than your husband prays for you.
Right.
I should not pray for your kids. The children's pastor should not pray for your kids more than you pray for your kids. And people hate it.
So what do you say to the people who say that your faith must not be strong enough, or that you must not be self-disciplined enough to not fall victim to that infidelity?
I mean, bro, it's in a public room. I just don't like. I don't talk on the phone like outside of like we have female staff. I don't have what I would say close female friends.
Right. That's something that we talk about constantly.
Yeah, there are women at the church that like are, when I see them on Sunday, what's going on? Boom, da da da. I talk to their husbands.
Right.
I go out with their husbands. I pray for their husbands, and hopefully they pray for them. Like, I don't feel like there's not I'm not building a relationship with you in a spiritual preach over you. My wife is here. We've got a ton of other ladies. Let's get you in a small group with other ladies that are walking through that, because if you're a married woman, don't go to a single guy for like, it'd be no different. Like you wouldn't, and anyone that would say that, then let your husband pray for that woman over there. And they're like, well, no, that's not okay, but you're the pastor. And it's like, no, bro, I'm a husband first. I am a Christian. I am a husband. I am a father. I am a friend. And then I might say I'm a pastor, like in that order, right? Number 5 on my list. And number 2 was husband.
Right.
I can't, and you want to leave, that's fine. Like we can't, because I was married to my wife before I started preaching. I committed to my wife before I'd done anything like that. And so, and you know, my wife is awesome at praying for people and women, or like we'll both pray for somebody if she's near, or if not, hey, we've got a ton of seasoned saints at the church that would love to, like, and it helps them walk their call. Like, I'm not the only one that knows how to pray for people. This isn't like, I think like the Catholic Church was really bad about this a long time ago. There's one guy, no one got the Bible, no one else did. He was the only one with the word.
Right.
And then that was when the Reformation happened, the 95 Thesis, I can't remember what year it was, and Martin Luther smacks this thing on the wall. He says, these are 95 things y'all aren't doing right. And one of them, you're not giving people the word. Like, they can't read the word for themselves. No, like there are people in the room that can preach better than me, that can pray better than me, that can sing better than me, all of it, right? Like, so why not?
Yeah. We've had that discussion quite a bit on the podcast, because there's, we have the conversation come up at least once a day. We get an email about same-sex friendships or opposite-sex friendships when you're married. And I don't believe in that. Real shit, like, you want to talk about, like, actual misogyny? I don't like women. I like women, but that's as far as that goes, because I want a relationship with a woman. I have a relationship with a woman. I don't need you other people around me, because even though I know that I'm happy in my marriage, the temptation is still there, or the accusations could be there, or why put yourself in a position of danger,
no doubt,
just to put yourself in a position of danger to say, well, I did that.
No, and my wife and I, we're not we're not alone with the opposite sex. That's always been our thing.
Same.
Always been our thing. And for someone to say like, oh, you're scared you're going to fall.
Yeah.
I could any day.
Right.
Better men have fallen than me.
Right.
You know,
better women have fallen than my wife.
Women specifically, I've noticed, really like to get upset when they hear that anybody could cheat. Anybody can fall to that kind of temptation.
Anyone.
And I don't understand why people get so upset about that.
I'm a human.
Right.
I'm
like, what is...
human. I have skin. There are things that my body thinks it needs in moments it really doesn't need to be needing what it thinks it needs.
Right.
If I know there's a cliff 6 feet away, I'm going to stay about 12 feet away.
No, you're not. You're going to walk up near that edge and see how close you can get to look over, because that's something everyone does.
And so if I can create
that barrier, that's why that guardrail is there.
I never fall. I never fall. But I mean, hey, keep dancing. See what happens. You know what I mean? Like I can only speak on my marriage.
Right.
And I find fulfillment in my marriage. I don't need affirmation from any women or men, for that matter. I know Jesus loves me. I know God created me for a reason, to do something different, right? That's the whole reason, to look different, to talk different, to reach somebody different. And now I've got my wife, and man, I got these 2 little girls that I love being, more than I love being Pastor Tyler, I love being Salem's dad. I love being Asher's dad. Like, I love when I go to the school, and none of the kids watch TikTok. They don't know who I am. I'm the party guy when we do like a Thanksgiving party or we got a Christmas party coming up. They know I'm coming to turn up some games. And they're like, Asher's dad's here. Asher's dad's here. And I think I'm learning. I love that title more than any other title.
Was that a hard role for you to fall into?
Which one?
Father.
I think when I was so young when we had Salem. You don't even know, right? Like one, you're never like nobody. That's like giving somebody a baby bear, and they're just like, here, do something with it. And I'm like, I don't know anything about bears. What do I feed it? Like, I hope it's living after this. Same deal. I think our second daughter was a couple years later, and I think I saw, oh man. And I hate that, but I think that there are things that my oldest daughter will have because of my being stupid, that she'll learn more out of it. Whereas the second time around, I think I was like, man, I was not as present as I should have been. And here are some things in my daughter that I created. And that hurts. But I think that she's going to have a story that no one else has, even though I created it. And I think that Romans 8:28 says, God turns everything together for good. When something bad happens, when I'm stupid, when I say something, when I spank out of anger, not out of, I'm trying to teach you a lesson out of wisdom. When I love the phone, when I whatever, I think she'll learn something. I think she'll be able to go, well, I'm glad I'm not, I know what not to do.
Right.
Just like I said about my dad, and he said about his dad, and he said about his dad. But I do hope now, they're 9 and 7. I'm anything but absent. I'm not going to know. Dude, I don't even know how to do their math anymore. Bro, what? I can't help them with homework. I can't help them with homework. I can't help. But I prayed for them every night they've been alive.
Yeah.
Like my hand on them. Prayed for their future. Prayed for their future spouse. Prayed for whatever God does. I want them to reach more people than I could ever even dream of, and I can just be there. I want to be their assistant so bad. I want to be the janitor at whatever they do so bad, and I pray for that every night. And so I really hope that when they go to get married, they start dating, and this dude doesn't pray for the dinner, that they go to the first date, they go, whoa, 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 we're done. Like my dad, like that's not what men do.
Right.
Oh, you raised your voice. My dad's never raised his voice at me. That's not what men, right? Like you cuss, you cuss at women, don't mess with that. And I hope that as stupid as I've been, that God would make all that good, and then what good I've done, that he would keep it. You know what I mean? And but parenting's probably the funnest thing ever, funnest thing I've ever done, hands down.
I say all the time that her kids, because I'm a bonus dad to her kids are my redemption at parenting, because I messed up pretty bad with mine. But you've never raised your voice with your kids? You've never gotten that frustrated?
No, I'm not you've seen, I've never raised my voice at my wife. I've never, that's not how I'm triggered. How I am triggered is make a joke that's not needed.
Okay. So you fall on humor.
Oh yeah. That's how I passed any grade ever.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why people watch stuff now. That's the only reason. And I think there's good and there's bad. I've never raised my voice. I've never cursed. I've never done anything like, never have. But I've been more sarcastic or brushed off as irrelevant. And that's the same. That's the same.
You really got nothing, huh? Mm-hmm. So your kids are obviously, you said 9. Do you want us to cut your kids' names out of this?
No, I preach about them all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in public.
So you said that your kids are 9 and 7. So you've been, how long have you been a pastor at your church?
So our church is new.
Okay.
Brand new. I've been pastoring at different churches, and I was like a evangelist, which is like where you travel around and you preach at like youth camps or whatever.
Yeah.
Our church is only like 2 years old, maybe a little older, maybe 3 years old. and the weird thing about it is we went viral before we ever even like had people at the church. Like we were big. Like we had our first 1 million view video before we had 10 people.
Oh,
you know
wow.
what I mean? Like we were just getting started. We were casting vision. We were giving away money out at places and all that. And so it was kind of a weird thing, but we've had the church for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And it's been awesome, dude. Been awesome. I think that's church people. You think your job's hard, like anyone's job's hard. It's, and because people need stuff. People need stuff and all of that. But yeah, man. 3 years and my wife and I have been married for 11, and then 7 to 9. Yeah, Salem and Asher have been travel with me around the world doing youth camp here, church here, whatever, and they love it. They just they love the church.
Do you have them in a public school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's where I was going with that, because everybody's got the preacher's daughter's jokes.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you actually have one. But
Ooh.
yeah, right. So and you've got them in a public school system. How is that how does that affect them on a Man, there's a lot of questions I have on that one. So let's start with, how does that affect them on a spiritual level? Because you put any kid, faith or not, in a group of other kids, and like, kids are cruel.
Yeah.
They are mean. And when they find something they can latch onto, they will.
Yeah.
And with the landscape of Christianity and the way that it's viewed versus other religions, we talked about that a minute ago, how has that affected their home life in terms of school, home, and faith?
Bro, it's so cool, man. And not too long ago, I've always been their pastor. They've heard me preach thousands of times. A couple months ago, one of them said, "What's FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes?" It's like a Bible study that happens at the school. Okay. I was like, "Oh, I used to do those a long time ago, whenever I was a youth pastor and all that." And they said, "We want to go." And it was something that I wasn't doing. And I was like, "You mean you like want to just learn without like me and your mom waking you up early to go serve at this or do this or preach this or whatever?" And they were like, "Yeah, Dad, we want to go to FCA. They have donuts." And I was like, "Hey, I'd be there too." You know what I mean? Right. If you guys have donuts. And they went, and literally all day, I was so like anxious to hear how it went. Because one, I've done them, but really like they're going to a churchy thing that has nothing to do with me.
Okay.
And they chose it. And they came back and they got in the car and like, I'm like, "So guys, how's your day?" And they're like, "Day was fine." The normal kid thing. Went outside, played outside. What was for lunch? And then I was like, "So how's FCA?" And I like look in the rear view and they're like, "It was good." I was like, "What?" Like all day, like I've been so anxious to hear about this. And I was like, "What'd you learn about? Who was the guy? Like but it was so cool like to see like them just do it.
Yeah.
I've never asked them to. I've never, just like I would never push it onto you guys or anyone, your children. I mean, by proxy, just like you live in my house, you're going to church. We've had people stay at our house that we're trying to get a fresh start. We've been a haven for a lot of people to get fresh starts. And the thing is, you get a job, like they'll move from Florida or Baltimore or whatever. They've come in, they've lived at our house, and two things, you got to work. Men just work.
Right.
And we always have men. We haven't had a woman stay like with us. You're going to work, and hey, you're going to set up a church. And whether you like this is just what we do. My daughters, like you're living, I am paying for your rent, your utilities. I'm not asking you to pay nothing. Because I wish someone would have made me do that.
Right.
Because I think it does. Like it sows something into you, even whether you were listening, weren't listening. Something was like a seed was planted years ago, and you knew where to go when you didn't know where to go. You know what I mean?
That asking your kids what they learned or how their day was is the most frustrating conversation you will ever have with a child.
You need to ask them what their favorite part was.
Yeah.
No, and my wife's gotten
does that
good
work?
at that.
Because I ask our kids every day when they come home from school, "Hey, bud." Hey, darling, because I call our little one darling. How was school today? That was good. What did you learn?
I don't know.
Every day it's I don't know. Or I'll go, or because they're 4 and 5 now, I'll get letters. You know your letters.
Well, our son just demonstrated he can count by tens now.
Yes, he did. He did do that. Yeah.
That's hot.
But that wasn't an ask thing. That was you going, show Pops what you did in the car. Like they don't, it's not fun for them. You're right. What's your favorite part is probably a better question. I probably need to change that up.
I do. I say, tell me all about it.
Yeah.
All about it. And and I'll say, what was for lunch? And they love to like, cause they have better lunches than me.
Yeah.
Cause I had like a piece of chicken and like rice from last night or something. And they're like, we had cheeseburgers, Dad. I said, well, we don't talk about over cheeseburgers. And like, you find the one thing
Right.
that's easy that they want to gloat about. Cause I tell them all the time they have better lunches than me. So now they love to tell me what, like they come, had smiley face French fries, Dad. We know you like them. And I'm like, oh my God. Then we're like talking
Right.
through like, well, what did y'all do? Who'd you sit with? Because I really want to know who they're with.
Right. That's important.
Whether you learn, don't learn, because I didn't learn nothing. I learned from who I was with, not necessarily the teacher that was teaching, right? Like I was learning that. So I'm like, who are you with? What was she? That's what I want to know. Or what y'all play at the playground? Not I played outside. What you do at recess? And they're like, oh, we played babies, or we played house, or we played freeze tag where you run under the. I want to know what they're excited about too, versus like, show me what you did in science, the equilibrium. I don't even know. I'm just saying words, but like, because I have no idea what. Dude, I've looked at their homework, can't do it. But like, I want to be interested in what you're interested in, like that. And I think that they start the conversation. Dad, we had grilled cheese today, and I'm like, oh man, I had this today. I had a bowl of cereal or whatever. But no, that's good. What's your favorite part? What was the funniest thing that happened today? What was we say craziest? Like what happened? And I'll say, oh, this kid, he punched somebody. I'm like, tell me all about it.
Oh man, my son got in the
give
car
me
and
the
told me that the other
tea.
day.
What?
Yes, I totally forgot about that. He got in the car and he was like, Adrian punched somebody today.
Oh, the tea.
It's not the name. It's a made up name.
Okay.
And I was like, who did Adrian hit? And he was like, Annabelle. And I was like, you're telling me a boy punched a girl? And he was like, in the stomach. And I was like, what did you do? And he was like, I stopped him.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
go.
that's what you do. And he was like, and I went and told the teacher on him too. And I was like, yep. And he was like, we don't hit ladies.
No, we don't.
Tell the authorities. Whoop, whoop.
Yep. Call the cops on your
Pull
ass.
up, yeah.
We are very deliberate with the things that we do with our son, opening the doors, doing the things that make a man a gentleman, because we want to instill that in him so that it is a habitual second nature and not something he has to think about.
Yeah.
I don't want him to ever drop the ball out of laziness or preoccupied thoughts. And I'm guilty of that. We all do it. You get so wrapped up in everything that's going on throughout the day that you forget to do something simple like walk in the door and give a kiss. Or, you know what I mean? Because you're just so wrapped up in everything that's going on. And I feel like because I had to teach myself the art of the gentleman, it wasn't taught to me. It's not second nature or habitual. It is if I open her car door, it's because I told myself I have to open her car door, not because it's just second nature. So I want that to be instilled in him so that it is no different than the way he puts his shoes on every day. So that it's important to me. I didn't know that he stopped a fight at school between a guy and a girl. That's awesome.
Well, he didn't stop it, but like he like made sure that he stayed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was the other day.
No, I have daughters. It's a whole that girl dad thing. Whole different ball game, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think different. I think pink. Like that's what we say. Like I think pink. Like everything's. I'm looking for the cute thing.
Yeah.
And I really think it's made me become like as creative as I am. As it's like I think I was raised by all boys in a not nice neighborhood.
Right.
Always playing ball, always rapping, always just living like what to me was a normal life. Raised by a single mom, all of that. And then God just goes, hey, here are two girls that you don't know how to talk to. Mm-hmm. All you know how to do is make fun of people. I want you to build them up. And you go, oh, I didn't know I was this bad at it. You know what I mean? Like, I can say someone's beautiful, but then you go like your hair's looking crazy today. And I think it's going to be like funny, cute.
Meltdown. Yeah. Yep.
Immediately. And I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Just to connect? Like, why? Why? Tell you're stupid. Like, why would you do that? And really learning soft skills. And I think that there is and I think that that has been a huge over the last 10 years in like anything I've been successful at, communication, preaching, leading, soft skills. Are you okay? Did what I said, like, let me be more clear rather than more powerful. Let me bring clarity. And anything I'm good at, I owe it to the 3 girls. No doubt. No doubt.
That's funny.
No doubt.
It definitely teaches you empathy. I'm realizing how different the 2 kids are because we have a boy and a girl. And she's the Xena warrior princess. And
I've got one.
He is so not. And we joke all the time about how we're already praying for her husband because he's gonna need it. Boy, is he gonna need it. You touched on. I take notes because I will forget. You touched on there earlier about how you had a viral video already before you had 10 people in the church. We want the community. Damn, do I want the community that comes with a good church, but I don't have what I look for in a church locally. And I have reverted to leading my house the best that I can spiritually, but I get all of my sermons online, whether it's YouTube or TikTok. Our sermons actually come from YouTube. I will put them on Sundays and watch full sermons. There are days that we miss, and there'll be nights that we sit down and we'll go 8 hours of word because we've got nothing else going on, and that's the way that we can get it in. So we get it when we can. And that speaks to prioritizing things, but that's a different conversation. With the power of online presence, do you think that the future of the word is going to be digital?
Yeah. So when we say church, there's the idea that there's what we know as the church, and then what like the actual meaning of church is. Okay. So we think church, the thing down the road right next door on the corner that has 4 walls that I can go to.
Right.
It's not the church. That is a place that the moment they close down, we can move a studio into.
Right. That's actually what we did. This was a church.
Yeah.
And it's a studio.
The church is the community I walk with, I love with, and I grow with.
Okay.
And people say all the time, I love Jesus. I like Christ. I don't like the church.
Right.
That can't happen because Christ died for the church.
Right.
And so many people say, I don't see Jesus show up. Like, how can you know God's real if you never see him? And I'm like, bro, I see him all the time because he uses his hands and feet. I am his hands and feet. So when I come and I say, man, can I pray for you? That's a word, like there's something in it. And when you don't live in a community with people that have faith, right? You don't have that community. That's like going to the gym and just being there by yourself.
Right.
That gets really lonely really fast, and you will stop going. If you don't have some faith-filled people around you, whether it's a 501c3, do I have a community that is chasing after Jesus, whether it's in worship and prayer, reading the word, 5 people in a room. That was what it was in the New Testament, right? Like,
yeah,
our idea of churches now, if I'm not doing XYZ, 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 do I have people that are growing with me? Do I have some workout partners? We talk about it all the time because my wife and I like to work out. Do I have workout partners? When I don't, I sleep in.
Yeah, of course you do, because there's nobody there to hold you accountable.
Exactly. But I think a lot of people don't like the church. Has the church maybe hurt them at times? Of course. School hurt me.
It's people.
People hurt me, right?
Right.
I think a lot of people run from accountability. And when you get around some close group of dudes and they hear you talk to your wife crazy,
to stop that shit. Yeah, absolutely.
you better.
Right.
Like as a pastor, as a man, as a friend, as a brother, long past anything, the guys at my church know, like if I was to say something, it wouldn't be, I'm about to swing on you, da 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 da. We do it in love. Hey, let's go out, let's grab some pizza, and let's talk. Hey, bro, y'all good?
Right.
A lot of people don't want that conversation because that makes me have to be better. Like, now I have to look inside. To Be Better podcast is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That makes me have to be better. And I would rather go, nah, man, they're all hypocrites. Yeah, we need another one. Come on.
Okay, so
We need another one.
So with that conversation, just to stay on point, if you have the platform going digital, the revolution will not be televised, right? So everything is moving away from that community and going online. What happens to that community when everything goes online?
So, and something we love, so we do in-person services on Sunday morning. And then at 5 p.m. every Sunday night, we go live for people that watch on TikTok that come. Like a lady, literally, I got an email while I was on the plane today, headed here. She lives in Houston and wants me to baptize her. And so trying to figure that out, right? Because she consumed online. But we tell everyone from our in-house, like, hey, Sunday, we do announcements, just like a normal, like, hey guys, here's what we're doing. This is the outreach we're doing. Hey, y'all pray for the kids ministry. Love y'all. Peace. See y'all later. We do a online only service at 5 p.m. And so then everyone from in-house comes and hops in the chat room for even, and yes, we're a young church. We have retirees that can't leave their house because they have bad knees. They can't drive at night. They can't drive. They tune in. And so then our church's mission, girl, this is your third week hopping in saying, hi, how are you? Like, where are you from? And you begin to start those conversations. And then we have certain people, when they reach out, you go to a different team member and you get a call every Sunday morning. Like a buddy of mine, someone reached out and they had kind of similar interests. So a guy in-house, I was like, hey man, we just text him every Sunday and just encourage him. He lives like in Texas or something like that. They just started a relationship out of nowhere.
So you are actually building a real life community.
We're
have you looked
online,
right? Have you looked into like maybe a Discord or something like that?
So we are working. So the kind of So yes. So earlier this year, we did a whole series. Kind of, I can't remember. It was either one message or multiple messages on lust, stuff like that. And I knew how many people on TikTok, anytime I preach on your lust, ridiculous, right? And we know, we know, right? It's not $1 billion industry because nobody's consuming it, right? I said, I want to start a Discord for people to come to prayer for that, because that is a different prayer request.
Right.
Struggling with my finances, I need a promotion, cool. To walk up to another dude and go, hey,
right,
it's ruining my marriage, it's ruining, I can't even focus at work, I can't do this, I can't, whatever. And so but then it started to grow because there are a bunch of things like that if someone needs help, and so we're trying to develop I don't know it, I've got somebody it's like, okay, this is to create multiple channels and all, like however he says it. So we're trying to create a place, and it's more, because a lot of times the church, you're with a bunch of people, but y'all don't mess with the same stuff. Like I'm sitting next to Nancy, and Nancy doesn't know nothing about me, and I don't know nothing about Nancy.
Right.
Versus, can this one channel be a place where when a message gets sent here, it's one of my boys, whether I've seen them or not, because gamers do it.
Right.
Gamers are brilliant, and that's something we want to start, different gaming, bringing Jesus into the gaming thing and setting that up and doing all that. But gamers have been doing it they've been more progressive than anyone else.
Right.
They've been, people
That's 'cause
got
they understand
married
technology.
over, people get married over games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that is a conversation, but really making them more less than, okay, we have 10,000 people in this chat and people just, no one wants that.
Right.
This is for this, this is for this, this is for this, and this is how you get plugged in. So we're looking at it.
So we have that. We created a Patreon for our followers, our fans, or whatever you want to call them. And it started off small, and it's got like 12 or 1,300 people on there now. But we have a Discord community, and that Discord community actually has faith channels in it. But we have channels for everything from homesteading to parenting. So like, if you have a faith question, we have actual Christian channel, and then we have other faiths, because there are people of other faiths. We're not trying to force anything, but we have that.
We also have men and women faith group.
Yes, we do. We have it separate because, like you said, you need that. There are men that are going to have conversations with another man in private that they will not have in front of their wife. When is Emmanuel's episode coming out? Do you know? Is that edited? That comes out after Troy, right? Okay. So the guy that was on that couch 2 days ago, his name is Emmanuel. We found him. He actually reached out to us, which is not a common thing. It's normally me reaching out to people. And he has a company called Team Vulnerable, and he does addiction. That's his entire website.
I got to, and we were talking about it. I want to link up with some of these dudes, because a lot of like what I do is I do all of that, but
Right.
I'm not like as official. So a lot of my thing is let me get you
Right.
to, I'm not a counselor. I can walk with you through some stuff, but the moment you go, I need help here, bro, I ain't got no plaques on the wall. And
Right.
I would love, like, that's what we do.
So I get permission from everyone that I talk to
Yeah.
to give their numbers to other
sure. Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So I can put you in contact with anyone that's ever been on the podcast. They've all given me the approval to do that. That walking through it with people, though, is enough. Most people don't have that. And that's where the comes in afterwards.
Yeah.
Because they don't have anyone to sit in flames with them. Man, you touched on a lot. And I'm trying to keep everything cohesive.
Dude, I have the most, if you listen to a sermon, it is 8 sermons. That's how my mind works. I don't want me personally, other people are like, give me my bullet points, let me
Yeah.
take notes. If you saw my sermon, it is words just all in a, like, but it makes sense. Like I am,
Yeah.
I just like little bite. I just like little, like, give me this, give me this, give me this. Like I like just little things. But
Right. That's how we are. But you touched on a lot, so I want to stay on what we were doing. You had made a comment earlier about how people say that they love Christ but don't love the church, and you were like, you can't do that because Christ died for the church. I think what people are trying to say in that is that they don't like the religion aspect, because the religion aspect is man-made. You were supposed to have a relationship, not a religion.
but Jesus didn't either. Like, so it's not like, and here's, when you read the book, you get a lot of answers nobody was giving you before.
Right.
When you really read the Bible for yourself, nobody wants to do that. And they pick up the cliff notes from their grandmother. They pick up
Right.
the clip from their pastor down the street, and they never go, let me see what Jesus did. And you'll go, oh, I kind of feel the same way.
Right.
I never had a problem with Christianity. It was just some dudes that really just wanted to make money off of the name.
Right.
That was it. That was the only thing that they worried about, but nobody will read. And when you don't, just like anything else, knowledge is power.
You're wrong.
Knowledge.
Knowledge is not power.
When you know what the word says, when it comes to, I know what, if I believe the Bible is the truth, if I believe that, and I have chosen to believe that,
Right.
there is nothing more true than that. So when I don't know that, and somebody's going to go, here, tithe 10%, don't have tattoos, don't be this, don't do this, and I don't actually know what it says or why it says it or what the heart was behind what it says, I'll go, the guy's right. It says it right here.
Yeah. Well, that
If I don't know, I have no, like, I don't feel, I'm powerless in a
Right.
conversation about my faith.
Well, that falls into sheep mentality, and that's going to tie back into why people feel so obligated to say, well, there's a bigger plan when somebody dies, like you were talking about earlier. They say that because they're uncomfortable and they don't have the answers. If they actually read the Bible, people wouldn't be like, oh, he's an angel now. Bullshit. It doesn't say that. That's not how it works. So that whole conversation, the reason I say that knowledge is not power, the utilization of knowledge is power. You can know everything and not apply it. So that's a pet peeve of mine,
No,
which is the only reason why I said
No,
something. I can't
and-
let that go.
No, for sure. And I think even in Jesus's whole thing, and I was even reading on the plane here, he's like, bro, y'all know, he even says, he looks at, so the Pharisees or the pastors at the time, that was kind of who Jesus was doing the pushback
Oh, I
against
know.
people like me, right?
Yes.
He was pushing. And he even looks at the crowd that the Pharisee was teaching to, and he goes, hey guys, what he says is from my word, but don't do what he does.
Right.
Like, don't follow his example. And I think a lot of us, Christian, not Christian, I'm really good at telling you what you should do.
Right.
I'm so good at it. I have the advice for everyone but myself.
Right. Well, you get that from her.
She's the boss, Chad. Hey, dude. Hey, man. I don't play, man. I don't play.
That's so
And,
funny. I wish that people could hear some of the conversations that we have at home. She always lets me have my way, but boy, does she put that fucking, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Am I sure? I don't know. Let's talk about this for a minute.
Well, and so I don't know how spooky you guys get. Okay. I don't know. So after Jesus, we've always said it. Jesus doesn't, we tell kids Jesus lives in your heart. He doesn't live in your heart. He's in heaven. He's at the right hand of God.
Right.
The Holy Spirit lives inside of you. That's I have that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
spirit, that voice, whatever. And when I'm not hearing God clearly, and if you're married, if you're not hearing God clearly, he will always speak through your spouse.
Right. That's the way it's supposed to be.
That is, so when she goes, are you sure? And Ryan goes, Tyler, you want to do this? Are you sure? I take that as Holy Spirit saying, let's talk, like, did you spend enough time with me about this? Not that it's bad. Like you said, if there's friction, okay, cool. Did I spend enough time talking to Holy Spirit and going, is this from you? Is this my pride? Is this my ego? Is this for me to gain clout? Is this for me to do X, Y, Z? Because you can talk yourself to do anything.
Right, of course.
Oh, me and me? Dude, I am the next Elon Musk, right? But like when it's me and Holy Spirit, and he goes, but who's Tyler? Who did I create? But what did I create you to do? Getting the vision. And our church is so big on vision. Vision, vision, vision. In Proverbs, it says, where there's no vision, people die. Vision. And so the Holy Spirit usually goes, what did I tell you to do? And if I'm trying to do all these other things, right? All these other things. And when I'm not hearing that clearly and I go, Ryan, here's the new idea. Church cruise ships. Right? 'Cause who wouldn't want to go to church on a cruise, right? And
I'm just saying that needs to happen.
I know
Like,
what we're talking
are you
about.
okay with that?
No, she is. Yeah, she's okay with church cruise ships. But then she goes, let's talk about it a little bit. That is me, not to her.
Right.
That's for me to go back to my prayer closet and go, I just came up with that idea because I thought it sounded cool.
Yeah.
Not because you thought it was cool. Not because you anointed me to do it. And when you begin to walk out of the will of God, that's a sketchy situation. You're going to fall. I mean, you're just going to fall. Like, that's it. And that's why when you get that gut punch or she hits you with that, are you sure? Like, hey, I know you.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody knows me better than Holy Spirit and Ryan.
Right.
Nobody knows me better. So why am I not going to listen to those two voices?
That's
you want to
funny.
listen to every other podcaster but those two voices. When those are the voices that know you the best, know your trauma, know your childhood, know everything about you, but you'll go, oh, but this guy said this thing that I liked one time. I don't want to know. I don't want things that I like. I want to get where God's called me to get. And sometimes that's me putting down what I like to get to it.
You lean on her to, are you sure you want to do that? My are you sure want to do that? The biggest one that I get from Peaches was with people. Because I think I am a giver. I want to try to do the best for everyone I can. And if I see people struggling, and I just want to help, right? Like, and a lot of times that'll come down to money because that's the easiest way to help someone, right? Because that's people's biggest struggle normally comes to finances. But I am one of those people that it'll take a little while for me to be like, there's something not right about them. Like, I don't like them. She's quick with it. Instant. And like people be like,
Discernment.
It is. But people be like, that's empathy.
You know that's a spiritual gift?
I'm sorry, what? What is
Discernment?
happening? No,
Discernment.
I've never heard of that.
You never heard of that? It's a spiritual gift. The Holy Spirit gives people different gifts, and we can go, bro. We can go
let's
wherever,
do that, and then we'll
But that's
wrap it up.
discernment. You can see something before something happens.
Yeah.
Not spooky, that's so Raven visions, but like your spirit's off.
Yeah.
There's just something where me and you and her goal and your goal is to help each other.
Right.
When God created Eve, he didn't say, I'm going to give you a person to have sex with. I'm going to give you somebody to listen to this playlist with. He said, I'm going to give you a helper.
Right.
And in that moment, help doesn't always look cute. Help is sometimes, let me keep saying no to you.
Right.
And most people don't want a helper. I just want someone to have sex with.
Yeah.
But some people aren't ready for that conversation.
So with the Adam and Eve thing, when God, we've actually talked about this a lot too. When God gave Adam dominion over the animals, and he was naming things, and he started struggling, and he gave Adam Eve. Adam was like, okay, now I got to help her. Now I got to show off, and he starts naming things. Like he's really starting to do the thing because God gave right. Yeah, look what I can do. Oh, you like that? Watch this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
platypus.
Tiger. He's gonna do that.
But so what I was saying was, is she gets that, people call it empathy. I'm gonna get into that in a second too, but she gets that discernment, as you put it, towards people and them not being right before I do. I get it over threats because I'm supposed to protect her. So I'm watching for that, and she's watching for people's interactions, and like we'll leave somewhere and she'll be like, yeah, that's not it. I don't like that person. I'm like, okay. And mental note, like now I'm watching this person too. And 99% of the time it's right.
Them. It's the season, the scenario, the situation. Like I don't hate nobody. It's they're not right now.
It's the demons that they're fighting
There's
right now.
something going on, and either we can't do it, we can't help them, and that's the worst thing. You help somebody that can't be helped, that doesn't want to get help, right? And for me and you, especially as you lead people, I do, and I have chosen to look at everyone and go, I'm gonna believe what you say. I'm not gonna be the cynic. I'm done being cynic. There are enough cynics in the world. So I'm going to look at you. I'm going to go, man, I'm going to do everything I can. And when you have some resources to do it.
You want to.
Yeah, that's why God's blessed us. Like, that's why you do it. But then there's some wisdom.
Yeah.
When I don't have discernment, the Holy Spirit's like, that's why you got to help her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why you did it.
She doesn't always get it with negative stuff. It's positive things too. She catches shit all the time that I miss, and she'll call it, and I'll be like, I didn't see that. You're crazy. And she's like, watch. And I'm like, okay. And she's right.
And then it plays out.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, married, like, it's so dangerous to be married and be quiet. Like, you're missing out on probably half of like everything you could know about your situation, your scenario, your problem, your season, your future, whatever. You've got it in your house. But y'all one just wants to play video games, and the other just wants to whatever, like just binge a
trap
show
on
or
TikTok.
whatever they do, scroll, right? And it's like, bro, y'all were put together to change the freaking world. If y'all would just work together.
Yeah.
If y'all would just start talking, but that's the hardest part.
Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to touch on was, you called it discernment. I've heard somebody else call it empathy. And then I saw something a while ago that said that empathy is a new age term to make us discount what the Spirit is actually doing in our body. So when she says that, I'm an empath, I'm like, no, that's the Spirit telling us something. Like, if that's the way you feel, like, we need to heed that. I no longer use terms like that. And that's like, I've only been back in my faith for less than a year. It's been less than a year, and she's had her faith for less than a year. But because of the amount of information that we're getting and the people that we're talking to in the community that we're building, the conversations have changed, the verbiage has changed, the way that we see things have changed. And
I have changed.
You have changed, and it's made it so that I don't have to do this anymore. It's not me. I have somebody that I can lean on. I have that true companionship and that true partner when I come home at night and I'm tired and I lay my head down. She's like, come on, like lay there. And like, we'll have those conversations, and she knows in that. And I think this is the Spirit also. She knows when I need that conversation and when I just need her to be there. Yeah. And that's walking through the fire. I have that.
Well, I think women are better at that than men.
Well, I think that they're designed for that. The nurturing, the mothering, like
intuitiveness of things.
Right. We need that.
Yep.
A lot more than anyone else does, but
bull in a china shop.
Damn. You have anything else? I have to pee so bad.
No.
Okay. That's the end of part 1, guys. We will see you on part 2 that'll air next Friday with Tyler from Different Church. You want to give your TikTok or
just
your
at
website?
Different Church.
On
you'll
everything?
See you'll see it. The only one. So,
okay.
yeah, let's get it.
All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.